So years ago, I started reading personal development books and I got in the habit of making sure I read at least 10 minutes a day from one. And I have to say that habit by itself immensely helped improve my mindset. And as much as I like writing my fiction stories, I also enjoy writing nonfiction and sharing all of the knowledge of things I've learned and kind of fulfilling my love of teaching. Yes, I used to want to be a teacher. And then I had kids and realized I could never make it in a room with 20 kids. I actually published a how-to book back from my years as an Amazon reviewer. That was the very first book I ever published. And then I did a book on burnout. And now, of course, I have my AI for Author series. So all of those are my current nonfiction books, and I'm still expanding those. So today I am going to give you a preview of what will be in my nonfiction AI author book. So these prompts that I'm going to share with you today are essentially what I can do in an afternoon to get my whole rough draft together. And then I can just focus the rest of the time on really improving everything and crafting some really good prompts to go with the books for the readers to enjoy. So I have a document here that I will link in the description of this video. I've already copied this first prompt right here. This is what we're going to use to start things off. So I'm just telling it I want to write a nonfiction book, and I'm going to put the niche here so it could be historical, religious, whatever you want. And then, of course, the main topic, and then just asking it for 5 ideas. So I want to do self-help about, let's do mental health. We were discussing this the other day. And of course, obviously, revise this prompt as you need if you want it to give you some different focuses on things. Let's look. So I want a self-help nonfiction book about mental health. Give me 5 ideas. We'll go ahead and say stuff like each idea should also include ways to improve one's mental health, just to make sure. Because that's really what a self-help book does, is help you with something. I don't want it to be overlooked. Like I always say, don't even give the AI the chance to get confused or leave something out or mess up. All right, so of course, starting off with our compliments, intersection of technology and mental health. So it gives us our concept. And because I asked it for that last little ideas to improve one's mental health, it does gave us this little section as well. I like that. So I think I may actually even add this to my prompt. Hey, how modern technology, especially social media, impacts mental health. Discuss the double-edged swords of connectivity. I like this a lot. A whole lot. Tips on digital detox. Okay, now we have various cultural narratives, their understanding of mental health, healing power of nature. So each of these in its own could be a very short book. This one, let's see, instead of focusing solely on mental illness, explores what makes us happy. I like that a lot too. So you know what? I'm going to tell it I like all of these ideas and buy them into one book. And good old compliments. Don't you love starting your morning with ChatGPT? I need to make it one of the first things I do, which is awful for mental health, by the way. Communicating with an AI first thing. But yeah, I could do with some nice compliments first thing in the morning. Right, so it's going to go ahead and start giving us this information, and I'm actually going to let it go ahead before I continue with my next prompt. My next prompt actually would have taken care of this, but when it looks like ChatGPT is giving me something good all on its own, I just like to let it go, and I can always incorporate things later. So let's see how it's turning out. Chapters on technology and mental health. Okay, practical solution. Cultures. I would actually want this, I think, to be the first one. History and the cultural stuff to be one of the first ones. So this is something I think I'd actually be interested in writing this book now. I'm going to do that, but instead of refining it, changing up the order of the chapters, we'll just go ahead and proceed with the other prompts so you can see how everything's going to work. So I already told it the ideas that I like. I'm just going to take this portion, copy it in. And again, y'all already know this. If you've messed with AI, you need to make all the edits yourself. Tell it what to change if you don't like that it's adding something or that it's excluding something. Get that taken care of before you keep continuing. Again, for this video, I'm just going to go ahead and go through everything, copy it down later, and then do some editing on the side. And what I like to do after I've gone through all of the prompts here from this document, I essentially have that rough draft done. So I have ChatGPT do the rough draft of all my chapters. And then from there on, it's just me and the words. And I don't need AI again unless I'm having trouble with a chapter. Maybe I need some additional tips for, especially for self help type stuff. Or if I need some editing help, or just like there's something wrong with that chapter. So I might go to AI again and say, hey, let's work on making this better, stronger, whatever I need. And I do actually have those sort of prompts later on down here for ways that I can improve stuff. So you'll get to see those. I'm not going to do them in this video, but you'll have access to those. So it gave us our premise. And now I'm just going to ask it for the outline. And then after the outline, I'm going to ask it for the key points in each chapter in the outline. And then I'm going to jump to a book description because I want that book description. I want it to pull from that information from the outline. That's why I'll do that first before I show you the first step in just getting it to write the chapter. Looking good. Not sure if I copied it, so I'm just going to copy this real quick. Again, if I saw anything I didn't like in this outline, I would let it know and fix that first. So I'll have it now listed out the key points. It'll be very similar to what it's already given us, just a little bit more broken down. And then I'll jump over here, get my book description, and you can see how quickly this can be done easily within an afternoon. Now, obviously, I don't recommend just publishing your book directly from ChatGPT that way. You really need to put your own spin on everything, add in your personal stories if that's the type of book you're writing, make it yours. Now that it has the outline done, all of these points for each chapter, I'm going to ask it for my book description while it has that in mind. Now, you may have seen me do this in Sudowrite. While this is going, I'll show you real quick what I do. So we can use all of these prompts pretty much anywhere. First Draft uses ChatGPT, so I can come here into First Draft and actually start prompting it. And what I like about First Draft is it gives me a bunch of sections that I can easily use the expand tool right here inside Sudowrite and make each section larger right away. And then I have more to work with after or for my rough draft. All right, so we have the book description. Pretty good. And now I have the outline, the key points for each chapter in that outline, and my book's description. So I can start doing this. So I'm going to ask it to write chapter 1. I don't like to ask the AI to do my introduction chapters. I like those just to be me talking to the reader. And if you aren't familiar with how an introduction chapter should go in nonfiction, a lot of people mistakenly put it, oh, in this book, you're going to learn this and we're going to cover that. Please don't do that. The readers will just skip through your introduction. In fact, that's why a lot of people skip introduction chapters now because of that. We know what the book's about. We read the blurb, we read the summary. That's why we bought it. So your introduction chapter should be something more personal. Why are you the one to write this book? What can they learn from you? What different perspective can you give to this reader? Relate to them. That's what you're trying to do in the introduction chapter. Relate to your reader. So one thing I would do here, again, I'm not going to do it. If you're familiar with AI, it's very easy. Even if you're not familiar with AI, it's easy. At this point, I would read this chapter that it gave me, because again, this is the first chapter. And I would let it know if I'm not liking the tone, if I want it to be more casual, more formal, more expert sounding, anything like that. I would read through this, decide if I like this tone, the kind of information it's giving me, make adjustments once I have it rewritten and I'm happy with the way things sound. Then I continue asking it for the subsequent chapters following the format and tone that I have set after reworking this first chapter with the AI. So that is it. Again, it's pretty straightforward. This allows you to get a rough draft done very quickly, and then you can spend time really relating to your reader, adding in your own personal stories, and things like that. So I hope it helps. See y'all later. Bye.